All right, so I'm Daniel Carpenter, Hardin County Agriculture Extension Agent for our county here, and we're here today at Farm City Day. Welcome. We're on our farm stop of the tour. Farm City Day is an annual event where we tour agriculture and industry and local business, kind of bringing the farm and the city together. That's the name, Farm City Days. So appreciate you all joining us, and we're just happy to be involved with the Extension Office to help bring all this together. And thanks for joining us today. You're going to hear from Rogers Farms, Philip, Adam, and Steve Rogers and their families, and should be really interesting. So listen up.
My youngest son, Adam. My daughter, Sarah, here. And that's Laura with her 3 kids. That's Philip's wife, Taylor, Thomas, and Tripp. And we got Kelsey over here holding Macy with Rhett, and her oldest is in school. And then Sarah's the daughter. Well, what are you gonna say, Anna? Huh? You gonna say anything? No. So, like I say, welcome, and just a little history. Well, I didn't introduce my dad. My dad's not here. He's up at the house. He's got the flu, so he decided to stay in. But a little history on the farm. What we're standing on is a 400-acre farm that was owned by my grandfather. When he passed, well, he ran 350 head of Black Angus on here, registered Black Angus. And when he passed, we sold the cattle. My dad bought the farm and moved from Lexington, where he was a radar technician at Bluegrass Field, and started the farm. We started farming with a Massey Ferguson 1100 tractor, an old 4-row Alice planter, a Massey Ferguson 300 combine, and a pull-behind sprayer. Well, things have changed quite a bit since then. Had a 5,000 bushel grain bin. You can see quite the difference now. And
just for perspective, that little bin right there holds 3,000. So if he started with 5,000,
yeah.
like,
it wasn't much bigger.
Yeah.
And I think there's close to 350
yeah.
bushels that we could store here now. So.
And that's not enough for the farm.
No. So, but now we're farming with my 2 sons, my dad, and Reese and Sarah. They help us.
And 4th generation looking at us here.
And Sarah, she stayed in the ag industry. She's not farming here except for when she's off and can help us. But she works for Nutrien as a regional safety officer. So kind of glad that everybody kind of stayed in the business with me. And with that, I'll kind of turn it over to them, and y'all can have.
I don't want this to be boring, but if y'all have any questions or answers, but if y'all have any questions, just go ahead and shoot at us. We'll let you go. But like Dad said, things changed from when they first started off. Granddad was the first generation farmer who went through the 80s. Any of you that farmed in the 80s know it was kind of rough. Things have evolved and changed, and he laid the groundwork for us, for me and my brother especially, to have it a lot easier. We're able to do a lot more acres more efficiently. That's kind of been the name of the game and the push that my brother and I have tried to do since we've come back to farm. We've tried to make, as the urban sprawl grows around here in our area, Ford coming to town, everything else is happening. We're trying to do more with less, be more efficient, be more productive on every acre. So our background is we do corn. Usually after we harvest the corn in the fall, we'll come in and plant wheat. After we harvest the wheat in the midsummer, we'll end up planting what we call double crop soybeans. Therefore, we'll get 2 crops. Yeah, what you're seeing here, what y'all drove by, is double crop beans. So we'll get 2 crops off of that in 1 year. Corn is just a single year crop. Then we'll also plant full season soybeans on ground that's not suitable for wheat in the double crop rotation. We also do some irrigating, try to increase productivity on those acres that we got, trying to make things more profitable. Try to control the controllable or the uncontrollables, which is the weather. A lot of it is water. It's mostly our limiting factor in this area. Although we do have a pretty good rainfall for our region, it's not always necessary. We're not like Kansas and Nebraska where it's a must. They got water issues, water problems out there, especially down in Texas. We also do tiling, trying to do some water management practices, trying to make sure everything's, well, us as farmers, we try to take care of the land, because if we don't take care of it, it doesn't take care of us. Therefore, our families, this is what we live on. There's always things out there that people say or do, but until you actually get out here and witness it, experience it, y'all, it's a huge operation nowadays. It's not just 40 acres. Put it this way: 3 generations ago, it was 40 acres to every family, and everybody had tobacco, and that's tobacco was probably what most of y'all's family, their money came from, and those farms have now consolidated. Now they're probably 2 to 3 generations removed. Now we've got these larger, mid-sized or larger sized farmers around, and it's becoming a lot more condensed down, where there's just fewer farmers handling more of the acres. So then it also allows us to have, nice equipment. We got to run bigger equipment. I know some of y'all honk on us as we go down the road. We hogging up the road, but so we try to be patient. We try to get off when it's safe and do everything like that. But other than that, I don't know what else y'all have question-wise. Yes, sir.
How long does the grain stay in
What?
these silos before it gets turned over?
The grain around here usually stays it up to a year. It can last longer, but we get it to the moisture that is suitable for the storage. Corn, it's going to sit there about 15%. I didn't mention this. Our yellow corn goes to about 15%. We do raise white corn. White corn is largely for human consumption. Our corn ends up going to multiple mills between Hopkinsville, Evansville, Midway, Kentucky. Actually, the one at Midway is a Kentucky proud product, Weisenberger Mills. We're the sole provider for them for white corn. So if you see them in Kroger or Boone's Butcher Shop or any of these small mom and pop places, our sticker on the white corn will be on the bag, says raised in Hardin County at Rogers Farms, which is pretty neat that they like to trust us to put our name on their product. So that's pretty interesting. So if y'all got grits or stuff like that, also we do take wheat up there. So some of the flour that goes into the products that they make, such as pancakes and my favorite's the funnel cakes. But yeah, biscuits and all that. But yeah, they end up it's out there on the shelf. So.
And then whenever we sell to Hopkinsville, that's sunflower milling, and we are one of 3 providers that provide white corn to that company. So if you're eating anything sunflower related, it could also potentially be coming straight from here. And then in Evansville, Azteca, any Mission or Azteca stuff could potentially be us, but they buy from probably 200 plus farmers. And then they also supply all the white corn soft tortilla wraps for Taco Bell within a 500-mile radius of Evansville. So I'd say 75% of the stuff the corn we produce is all going to be food set on your table somehow or another.
Yeah, like you said, it's food grade, and once it leaves our farm and it leaves their plant, it's provided to you all. The yellow corn side, a lot of it just goes into feed to cattle, chickens, or whatever else. So it's a secondary consumption there. The wheat we produce a lot of it goes to Hopkinsville Mill. Some of it goes to the river in Owensboro, depending on how things go. But
the wheat also, Seymour also mills for Krusteaz, so if you have any Krusteaz products, and they also make McDonald's, the flour from McDonald's biscuits. So, like I said, there's another way that a lot of our products directly go to you all.
And then lastly, the soybeans that we got, like you asked it, that we dry them down. They 13, about where they go, 13% moisture, and that we could store it in the bin. And they end up in Owensboro grain, where it was at one point in time Owensboro crushed 3% of the U.S. soybeans. 3% of the U.S. soybeans doesn't sound like a lot, but it's a huge market for us. So hopefully that answers your question there. So. Anybody else got anything?
Phil, can you explain to them a little bit about what the tall things are?
Yeah, if y'all look back over here, this is our grain facility. This is, once we harvest the crop, we bring it out of the field. Tractor trailers will bring it in. Right here underneath this red shed is what we call our pit. The wet grain comes in, so I'm going to say corn, for instance. Our wet corn will come in. We dump it in. If it goes up what we call this high capacity leg, the one with the American flag that's wrapped up there, it falls into this big holding tank right here. That's our cone bottom bin. That's called our wet storage. From there, our wet storage corn gets delivered to the dryer, which y'all can't see on the other side. It's the stacked stacked with columns with the fans on it. Yeah,
Three big fans on it.
it's one of the fans. So it gets augered over. That there, we burn propane. It puts heat onto the grain and pushes air through the grain. Then before it gets it to our desired moisture, what you were talking about, to be able to be stored. We typically bring corn in somewhere between 18 to 28%, and then gets dried down to 15 to 14. Our white corn's got to get dried a little more than it does on just normal corn. Then it'll come back out to the leg that has the yellow lid up top. It goes. Those are those green legs, and then they get downspouts dropped to each bin, which is the bins that we get stored, where we store it in, or these conveyors that drag it over to bins that are further away. Then we also have reclaim augers that bring it back to this high capacity leg one with the American flag, and we can either drop out to our downspout back over the pit to load back the trucks back out, or we load it into our overhead bin, which allows us to load at a much quicker rate if we're trying to go to the river and time is of importance. Our nearest market for us is 85 miles one way. That would be Owensboro. So we're on the road a lot. We wear trucks out. So that's roughly, if no line, no problems, that's 3 hours round trip. So if we got to sit in line, we can make 2 trips a day. If we don't have anybody and we're the first one there and the last one to close the doors, we can make 3. But that's what
the overhead tank is allowing us to do. It just allows us, because whenever we're shipping to the river, they're loading a barge, which is roughly 60 to 70,000 bushels, and they got to have it there within that day. So that allows us to have 3 trucks sitting in that tank. So that way when we'll have them loaded in the morning, we'll take the 3 off, come back, be able to load 3 back up and head right back down to where they can get it on the barge and send it to Mexico.
How long does it take to load out?
it's 3 minutes per truck.
Yeah, 2.5, 3 minutes.
Well, it's 2 minutes and 58 seconds if you want to know.
It's a 14-inch hole, so I mean, it just flowing straight out.
How big of a dryer do you have?
The dryer will hold right at 1,200 bushel inside the dryer, but it is a dryer that will move 10 points at I think it's, what was
Roughly
it?
1,000.
Yeah, it's 1,000 to 1,200 bushel an hour at full heat, and that's right about 20. I think it was 2,200 at 5 points.
So is it drying as it's put in there?
Yes.
Or does it get stirred in there once it's sitting?
As the corn comes in, we got the columns. It starts at the top, so the grain comes in the top, and as it goes, the grain is pulled out from the bottom. The grain slowly falls down through the columns, and as it comes down through the columns, we're constantly putting air and heat on it. And by the time it comes out, we got moisture sensors at the end, at the augers, that tells us what the actual moisture is.
So what is the turnaround time usually?
By the time it goes in and comes out, it's about 30 minutes.
Is that all to dry it?
Yeah.
By the time it goes in and comes out.
The grain sits on the outside in like it's actually like a hexagon, but we'll just say it's a half circle. And then in between is a big air chamber. And we're blowing all that heat into the air chamber, and it's pressurized, pushing the heat out against the grain. So as it comes in at 25% up top, it'll start gradually drying it, and it'll start being 20% here, then it'll be 18% here, 15% here when it's finally finished.
Down, it's not a huge amount of volume that's coming down.
It is
It's
not.
like it's coming down the sides and narrowed out. So
Right, and as it's coming out at 25%, we're probably coming out about maybe 700 bushel an hour, is the rate that it's actually flowing
meter
through.
Rolls that you can actually change the speed on. Say if it's 25% when it starts, it's got to be slower. But if it's 20, we're going to be spitting it out faster. So it's all kind of real variant and can change just rapidly.
Controlled. It actually monitors and changes those speeds on its own.
So you kind of set it where you want it to be, and it'll take care of itself.
And these heaters are like it's about 4 million BTUs. Yeah.
Do you have your own natural gas source here?
No.
We have to use liquid propane.
We got truck in LP.
Yeah, that propane, a 2,500 gallon truck arrives every day.
And we can go through. We've gone through 2,500 gallons in a day.
And that's not running full. That's not running 24 hours yet.
No. Yeah. No.
Then that's running about 10 hours. So that's trucks are coming through on the regular. When
Do you all dry grain for other farmers?
No, we don't. We just do ourselves. It's a full-time job and operation keeping ourselves going. Everybody has their way of handling grain. Everybody does it different, and not saying our way is the right way, but it's a method.
2 years ago, he worked at a grain elevator.
Yes. Yeah.
About that size.
Yeah. Y'all see this equipment behind us. Some of this here is our tractor. This is our planter. Yes, it's a.
Started with 4-row.
Yeah, Dad started with a 4-row open station years ago. It's improved. This is a 48-row, 15-inch planter. So
It plants our corn, soybeans, and wheat. So it plants all three of our crops.
Cost of equipment. Now you don't want to really know.
It's going up daily.
What you're sitting this right here.
If you had to replace this tractor with the brand new one, you're looking at right at $650,000.
Is that all?
If we replace this planter with the brand new one, you're right at $700,000.
That's a lot of corn.
So it's a lot of corn, a lot of technology.
But there's a lot of stuff going on with this planter. The thing, fertilize and everything has gone up quite a bit in the last few years. So we've been trying to make practices and economic and I guess like
good sense management practice.
We are taking our fertilize and banding it next to the corn rows. We'll plant our corn rows, and on 3 inches on each side of it, we'll have a knife injecting fertilizer out of this big tank. And that allows us to take our, say, if you were at 100% used 100%, we are able to decrease by a third of our use rate by just banding our nutrients right next to the plant and making them easier to get to.
Now that's versus spreading broadcast.
Yes.
So that's what he's making that comparison to. This planter here is also, like I said, it's got a lot of technology to it. It allows us to be more precise with planting, with our planting, making sure we're getting the right depth. So y'all know, those of you that farm know that getting your emergence up is key. Keeping's got trash clears on it, keep the trash out of the way. So we're going into straight dirt and get that consistency depth, kind of get the spacing consistently, because we know that, as spacing is erratic, we could call our cash crop could actually become a weed if it doesn't get spaced properly and we don't get the right, because on corn it'll affect the rows around, which in turns, and the length of your corn, of your ears, which will then return a negative result on yields. So,
but even though this is a 48-row planter, it is essentially 48 planters planting one row, because you can control each Each row individually. I could tell row 1 to put out 1 seed per acre and row 48 to put out 100 seeds an acre, or any combination of any between. But even down to the fertilizer, each row has its own rate controller on it to where we are making sure there is no variability. Each row is getting the same from one to the next and trying to minimize any type of loss or instead of putting, say, 20 gallons on one row and the next row getting 15 and then the next row getting 30, we are making sure every row gets 20 and everything's even, so that way everything's in a good, consistent level base whenever it starts to go off to a good start.
And he didn't mention that this one does have capability. He's talked about it putting fertilizer by the row, but it's also got capability of putting fertilizer, insecticides, fungicides, inoculants, anything else that we can put in there that is flowable, keyword flowable, it can go through and put in furrow. Some of us years ago, what was earworm then, wasn't it?
No, it was rootworm.
Rootworm, sorry. Rootworm had big trouble. Now we got seed that has the rootworm traits and the BT traits and chemicals and herbicides on the seed that allows us to combat some of those things. But it's just another tool in the toolbox for us. That's all this is. Then our crop protection side. Sorry, crop protection is sprayer. This is one of 2 sprayers that we have here. This is our high clearance rig. This is the one that we'd use on corn, mainly to go over top of the crop, do crop protection things. The more we learn, the more we keep these plants healthy, the more it returns us revenue. So sometimes we make 1 trip of fungicide, maybe we make 2, sometimes we've made 3 with them. And putting
with these fungicides, you just kind of look at it as like getting a vaccine for us. Whenever we spray our fungicide, we are basically now protecting that plant versus any funguses that are going to come in to try to kill that corn. Our number 1 goal is whenever we plant it, we want to keep it alive as long as possible until the combine comes through, and we want the combine to kill it. We want the corn to be green as it can be when the combine comes in, and the combine to kill the corn.
So yeah, these sprayers anymore, I'd say on our corn crop, we also wide drop with that, which is another, instead of broadcasting when we top dress our corn, which with dry fertilizer, we use liquid, and which is a drop nozzle that goes in between the row with 2 rubber hoses that go to each side that run alongside the corn plant. So we drop the nitrogen like we do with the planter, a little less uniform, but it is the same idea and principle, and we drop it through there in the corn row, or right beside the corn on both sides of the plant. These sprayers anymore with our corn crop, I'd say on average goes across each acre 4 times, maybe 5. Soybeans about 3 times. By the time we make our herbicide passes, insecticides, and fungicide passes, and our burn downs. Our sprayers, particularly how wide are the passes, this one here is, the ones we run are 90 feet. Sprayers generally run anywhere between 60 to 120 feet. Some people got a little bigger, but those are few and far between. And around here, our terrain and our topography, it's 90 to 120 is kind of our fit. We like 90s. We've had 90s. They just hold up better. We don't have to break the welder out as much. So.
And the other thing with some of these chemicals, like, yeah, we are spraying these chemicals, but when it comes down to it, let's say we're putting a fungicide pass on with this. We are only putting 10 ounces of the fungicide out. But within that 10 ounces of the fungicide, there's only maybe 25% of it is an active ingredient. The remaining 75% is just stuff that they've added to help make it flow and like just better coverage and stick to the plant to where we're not dropping it on the ground and trying to wash it into our water system. So they have actually formulated this stuff to where as soon as we hit the plant, it is sticking and staying to it to where the plant can absorb it. So if you think of 10 ounces and take 25% of that, we are only at 2.5 ounces of an active ingredient per acre. And if you look back here in this field right here, that's 35 acres. So I mean, like, just to give you a little bit of a representation of, you're only putting 2.5 ounces on an acre, so it's really just not just a well of a lot in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah, and the remainder of that's just our carrier, which is water. So I know a lot of people ask questions to me. I'm the spray guy. He's helped a lot since we got the second sprayer, trying to help me keep caught up. Because the more we run across this field, the more I get behind, and my butt hurts from sitting in those things too often. But anybody else got a question? Come on.
Use GPS?
Yes, we do use GPS. Everything here's got GPS, just GPS guided. The sprayer's got GPS. If you don't plug the rates in properly and the proper steps and the way that it wants it, the information given to it, if it's all one step out around, it don't know what to do. So once we get all the information plugged in, yes, GPS then takes over, drives, sprays accurately, does the rates and does everything. It has auto boom shutoffs, just like this planter has basically 15-inch shutoffs. That one there's got about 10 feet has got a shut off. That one there's got a 7-section shut off on 90 feet.
And this tractor right here, it will actually, once you pull into a field, you will never have to touch a steering wheel if you set it upright. You could import boundaries in here and say you mapped out your field and got the boundaries. Whenever I pull in, I tell it there's a 60-foot planter behind it, and it'll drive on the edge of that boundary all the way around. And then whenever it comes back, it'll know to scoot over 60 feet, go around the boundary again, and then it'll start going back and forth. And this thing has actually got auto turn on it. And with it being tied into our planter, it knows whenever every row has quit planting, it'll go beep, beep, beep. It'll lift the planter up. And once it knows it's lifted the planter, it'll actually start making the turn for you. And then whenever it knows, hey, it takes me 10 seconds to let the planter down, 10 seconds before it hits the unplanted area, it'll go beep, 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 and start dropping it down. I've actually used the auto turn once. I didn't have a boundary set up, and it got too close to the fence row, and it made me scared to use it again. So, but if you have everything set up right, you could actually pull into a field and never touch the steering wheel.
Which solves the sore rear end problem. You can put it on autopilot and stand up.
That's right. Anybody else have any questions?
What's something you wish your Hardin County neighbors knew about your work, and what would be helpful to you with support from the community?
Good question. But yes, patience on the road. I know it sounds like and looks like we hog the road. This equipment is large. It's meant for field. It's meant for off terrain. It is not meant to go down the road. This planter weighs 55,000 pounds. The tractor with this block up front here is 5,500 pounds on the front. The tractor itself is about 45. I think so. It's about 45,000. This outfit is pushing 80,000 pounds going down the road. It's hard to stop 80,000 pounds. It's hard to turn 80,000 pounds, especially if it's wide. It's high. It's top heavy. It gets off the road. It could turn over easy. These things. This one here travels 32 miles an hour. Moving it, that's too darn fast. So if we're going down the road and it looks like we're hogging the road, if y'all ain't slowing down, we ain't slowing down, because we think y'all have enough daylight to pass. So if we pull over, the people behind us are mad because we're pulling over, we're taking up too much time. But we want to safely pull off the road in a safe spot where they can safely pass. We are safe where we're at, and the oncoming traffic's safe. A lot of people don't understand that or realize it, but it doesn't matter if you're roading behind me for 10 miles. The maximum that your distance, the difference in time would be 3 to 5 minutes of your final destination.
One just little like pet peeve. Whenever you do come up on it, don't pull off
By the
And there's a
mailbox.
mailbox on the opposite side, because that does not help us a bit. It makes it worse.
It makes the road narrower when you pull in a driveway with the mailbox on the other side. So now when you see us doing this number and we're trying to dodge the mailboxes, the signs, your vehicle. So just keep that in mind. Pull past the mailboxes as we come by.
Another thing we would like y'all to know is we, as farmers, are not doing anything to our ground or spraying anything that we do not feel is right. So if I want to put something on our crop that I think is wrong, I wouldn't do it. So I'm not trying to bring you all a product that I would not personally want myself.
Or our kids. It's
So everything we feel like we are doing is 100% safe, 100%, I don't know the right word,
we
but
feel it's right. U.S. farmers are the best farmers in the world, hands down. We are the leaders. Everybody else is following. Everybody else has a lot more acres in their country than we do, but we provide a quality product that the rest of the world wants and demands. That's
because with us bringing food grade products to you all, essentially, we even will actually, we have each one of these grain bins are basically graded out into different grades, so that way if we say, okay, this person needs a high quality grade, so maybe some of it actually just gets totally rejected. So there will be some parts of this that may not even make it to your food. So we ourselves are holding ourselves to a standard to where we're bringing a quality product to you all.
So like he says, if it doesn't meet grade, it doesn't come to your table. And there's some, on the white side of things, it's a very strenuous process and the grading scales.
And within all the years I've been farming, which hadn't been terribly long, I can think of no more than about 10 loads, which is a semi-truck that we've ever had rejected. And the only thing is it just had too much foreign matter in it. Or
just
damaged grain.
Yeah, damaged grains, which was...
We had 1 year, it was actually it was only just from 1 year because we had a damaged corn in the field and we just weren't able to sell it. But
Do you ever allow the fields to be fallow to rest?
No,
we do not.
no, we
We feel like we get enough rainfall. Typical of a fallow rotation is because they don't get enough rainfall, so therefore they are trying to build up soil moisture. But with us getting roughly, I guess it's 40 some inches of rain a year,
45.
we get enough rainfall throughout the year and throughout the non-growing seasons to actually have enough to graze a crop. And then if you want to dive deep into it, we got soil microbiology going on that is benefiting our crops.
Whereas in biblical times it was to let the ground rest and build up nutrients.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So we are, by keeping an active crop growing, that allows the soil microbiology to never go dormant. So it's always staying active and always recycling the nutrients within the soil. So therefore,
make it a healthier soil.
you're in a roundabout way becoming around to a healthier soil by keeping a crop growing year round. And that's what we're doing out here with this wheat crop is this corn got harvested or planted in April, the beginning of April, got harvested in the middle of September, and wheat was planted on it in the 1st of October and won't get harvested. The wheat will be harvested in the middle of June. And then as soon as the wheat comes off, the beans will go on, and the beans won't be harvested till November of next year.
Of this year, or that's that year.
That's winter wheat, yes. Soft red winter.